We've all heard the story 1,000 times and then some. Overwatch 2. Big changes, bigger promises. Then promises not kept. Yada yada, where, everybody pees their pants. Anyone staying joins in on the temper tantrum, and then the echoes get louder. People document those wheres and make their own little video out of it. With a picture of Tracer that's looking sad and then a big red line going down. But now it's my turn to make one of those, and instead, the big difference is my line is green and it goes up. Let me tell you why. See, I play Overwatch. Now, I even make content for it. It's my full-time job. Oh, regardless. Now, not to flex, I'm not a high school dropout. I could have gone to university. I could have gone to college. I could have had a social life. I could have had friends if I wanted to, but I didn't because I have Overwatch. I didn't get massively lucky through a collab with Drake or have a pro career or literally any logical reason to stay to play and make content for Overwatch. Better yet, I'm one of the few that actually is outwardly saying they like Overwatch. I say actually here on purpose because of the 6v6 playtest being well received is reason for me to say that some of y'all are Weasley lying little liars. And I can explain why. Stop typing that comment. You've had your opinion come from other content creators for far too long. Now it's my turn to be parroted. Overwatch 2 has been a 5 versus 5 player situation since launch in 2022. This was widely regarded as a problem, I think, because it was very popular. I'll be real, I didn't like it either. I remember my first comment when I first heard about it being that they took out some content and then they said, "You're welcome." I remember feeling very insulted actually when that happened. That was not a good moment in time. Like, I threw a fit type bad. Now, luckily, Twitch made us delete our entire digital history for a 100 gigabyte data cap. So I don't really have any footage of that. But if you want to, you can take my word. If you don't, well, there's no real consequence. You can do that, I guess. I don't. Shout out to that 100 gigabyte data cap on Twitch's end for saving me from being cringe. Unlike now, where I am cool. So, after 2 years of Overwatch 2 being 5v5, the community threw a temper tantrum the entire way through, and eventually Blizzard just said, "Gah, we'll try your stupid 6v6, see if we like it." Turns out, we did like it. We did. Shocker. It did really well. But that's weird. Let me tell you why. Why did 6v6 do well? The game isn't actually that different. We're not going from Valorant type gunplay and tempo straight up to a Titanfall 2 here. Overwatch 2 at its core is still Overwatch, regardless of 5v5 or 6v6, unless it's deathmatch, I guess. But even then, the characters are still the same characters, you know? If you let someone who has never played Overwatch before, let them play 5v5, let them play 6v6. I promise you, it's gonna take a couple months for them to notice there's actually a difference here. Because to the majority of people, cheese is cheese. And if you're in the top 10%, sure, you can verbalize why blue cheese is blue, but there being such a difference in perception regarding something that ultimately doesn't actually change that much is for something that isn't for this early in the video. Just something interesting, you know, for later foreshadowing or something. I don't know. I don't make these videos often. I don't really know what I'm doing. I wanted to make this a PowerPoint presentation at first. It just kind of got out of hand. I'm not gonna lie. If you want, you can skip in the video, but okay. There goes my hard work, I guess. So why is everyone glazing 6v6 like it solved intergalactic warfare? Well, to put it simply, my theory is that some of y'all are kind of just lying. You guys actually do like Overwatch. Not in the, yeah, no, I'm only yelling at you because I love you kind of way, but in the, yeah, I secretly love My Little Pony, but no one is allowed to know that. So in order to convince everyone that I don't, I go on daily hate threads on public forums talking about exactly why Twilight Sparkle ruined her friendship is Magic by becoming a Pegasus and disturbing the power dynamic in her friend group. I don't know what I just said. And I get that a lot of you just went, yeah, I like Overwatch, just not 5v5. And I mean, shoo, you're not wrong. You really are having more fun in 6v6 and not in 5v5. But 5v5 is still better. Why? Community. Look at goats. Back in the prehistoric ages, when we were riding dinosaurs outside, we were playing Overwatch inside. The game had trillions of active players, and everyone logged in daily to play their daily dose of goats. For really no other reason other than that they just wanted to play Overwatch. The weird thing is, we have goats now. Well, not now, but we had an event called Overwatch Classic Goats, where they put in everything that was goats. Now, let me tell you something. This shit is not gas. It is not oil. It is not even able to charge a phone. This is hot doo-doo. But yet, this is gas. This can time travel. You see what I'm getting at? No? Weird, but good. I have some more slides. I can keep going. Overwatch 2 as a game on launch sucked. I don't have any other words for it. I thought I could come up with it halfway through, but no, it sucked. It was not a good game. It was not great. I did not like Kiriko. Matter of fact, I still don't like Kiriko. I don't even think she has a bike at this point. Sombra had a 1,000% fatality rate. I had like 20 hours on her at like a 91% win rate. Roadhog didn't have his quintessential pigpen PP for short. It was just an unplayable game. It was a mess. Despite all that, we put up with it, didn't we? Not only that, we had fun. Views were through the roof. Players were playing, millions of active users. And then that slowly degraded. So I say slowly, well, at least it was slowly until the PvE event. I'm not gonna get into it. There's plenty more videos with a line graph going down that talk about this, but it got canceled. I didn't really care too much. Back in Overwatch 1, there were archives event. Didn't really play that more than twice, I'd say. Not really for me. I wasn't too bummed out about it. I just liked the game for the game. I was there for the PvP. I played the PvP. PvP was still there. I didn't mind too much. Everyone else did. God knows, y'all did not let me know. It was like not voluntary. Now, I'm not gonna get further into it, but the general effect of it is that, well, content creators kind of became pessimistic, nihilistic, and doomsdayers. Everything Blizzard did was held to a higher standard because to everyone, they had to make up for their promises. They had to make up for breaking their promises. Well, let's be real here. The game wasn't even that good. It was definitely not the best it could be. You'd say Overwatch was lucky that there wasn't any competition. But on that, I think it actually made it worse. At least in the long run, it made it worse, in my opinion. Because believe it or not, Overwatch is a team-based game that has teammates. The fun factor of interacting with other people, whether through gameplay like Ryan Zarya or diving Winston Genji, or socially like voice chat.
Let's go.
I keep saying very funny jokes and then no one laughs. It's just silence. It's so sad. I like this guy!
Where you're just laughing at funny stuff happening or playing a funny game mode, you know? It was a major component, and that requires a good atmosphere. Now, I figure I should mention, because I'm assuming somebody's already written a couple comments about this, I'm not trying to defend my multi-billion-dollar company here. I'm the type of person that if I'm not having fun, I look at the weakest link in the chain, and then I yap about that nonstop. Until there's a different weakest link in the chain, and then I yap about that. Either it gets fixed, or it's a deal breaker and I leave. Simple premise. Some examples of that would be game art style, base gameplay, continued balance after launch, the content added after launch, or just lack thereof of content. Even just everyone being a little bit better than you forces you to play the most effective tactic available. Meta. The meta of a game could just not be fun. But those are all points that are still on the developer side. The developers could change the meta. They could change the art style. But those are all on the sides of the developers. They get to choose what the balance is. They get to add the content. They get to choose not to add content. It's in their control what the meta is and how you play the game and how it further develops, right? That's all them. To an extent, you can say that that's rooted in logic. What you're not allowed to point at, though, however, is a vague concept of where you're playing it, like the community. You wouldn't survive a 2013 Call of Duty lobby. Yes, that's the point. Welcome to 2025. I wouldn't play it. I want to play with more people like me because I like me. I don't want to play with a community that I have to put up with or tolerate. If I'm at a birthday party and little Jacob, all right, the little Nepo baby nephew you have that's never allowed to be told no, throws a fit, blows out the birthday cake, smashes it to pieces, and then pisses his pants, and then cries about it for 7 hours straight, eventually, you leave that party. That's not at fault of the party, but that little fucker Jacob, oh man, I still think about him. Jacob. So it's kind of like the same premise, right? Either the party can suck or the people at the party can suck. And both can be true, both can be not true. And for Overwatch, you're essentially trapping a large majority of people in a death game nuclear family environment. And I don't even blame people for not even joining voice to just avoid the fact that there's people playing with you at all. They're really playing PvE if you think about it. Because I'm European. I know, shocker. Let's get that out the way. I'm European. I'm Dutch, not American. Ik spreek Nederlands. Every time I talk, every time I try to have fun, every time I try to be, you know, enjoying myself playing a video game, I get called slurs in languages I didn't even know were still real. I know 4 languages starting with the slurs. It's a problem. So back to the analogy, the dad here is the one that's yelling, right? He's old, he's the one that is the breadwinner, and he gets to make the demands. You know, the demands, they start small, they start realistic, like, I don't know. Who the fuck thought it was a good idea to put heroes in the battle pass? That's a start, right? But then that's where it starts. And then it cascades and it snowballs, and then more and more daring do those demands become. And then you get to make a video that's 15 minutes long talking about how you want the lead balance designer to be fired. Are we serious? Like, come on. And you know, acting like this in the middle of the McDonald's playpen. By the way, I never mentioned, but in this instance, the family's in the middle of a McDonald's playpen. Thank you. Regardless of the quality of food, it makes everyone have a bad time. The impressionable children mimic that behavior because they look up to them. And then you have our community. It's a real beaut, that one. Oh, yeah. Now, they could have just divorced and make the dad go to Burger King instead. But instead, we have a large army of children that I can only assume learned every language they know, starting with the slurs. And then the same dad comes back and then complains that the vibe was way better back in the day. Welcome to the 6v6 conversation. I'd rather talk about politics and religion than this, but I'm in too deep. Back in the day, GOAT 6v6 was kind of fun. Even looking back, I had fun. Yeah, the meta comp was definitely meta all the way through, but that didn't matter. That didn't meta. The game was still very much fun and thriving in almost every aspect. It was hitting the charts in every regard. No amount of balance suggestions or changes could really change the way that each individual character fundamentally played out per person. Soldiers shoot in 6v6 and soldiers shoot in 5v5. Like, if you're not grinding the game for 8 hours a day, that's really as deep as it gets. Like, the fact that you're watching this video already puts you above average. The fact that you're aware that things can be optimized, that already shoots you up in the top 20%. Competitive players only make up like 10% of the entire player base. And then you gotta be good. So if the average person has fun just shooting their bullets, what if they have fun shooting their bullets and playing with people? That's like a 5 times multiplier, right? In my mind, a fun game played with good people can be a good time. A good game played with bad people can be a bad time. We were both. On launch, the game was just kind of a mess. It was not good. Everything was in the worst way possible, unbalanced. Not like the chaotic good kind. Just like everything was frustrating. Everything killed you too fast. Sojourn existed. Kiriko existed. I hate her bike. But it was fun. We had so much fun back then, because every game I loaded into, everyone had energy. It was fun. Everyone was making it to be fun for everyone else. The hype just made it worth it. And now, after tiny change after tiny changes through the concept of the boiling frog, but like the inverse of that, I couldn't find a better analogy. This game is actually kind of gas. Kiriko is killable. We have an on fire meter. Perks, Illari, Ramatra, Juno, Venture, event after event. Promises actually being kept. Overhauls to maps like Gibraltar and Dorado. A whole new Flashpoint game mode. That was honestly kind of alright now. Sombra doesn't have perma-stealth anymore. Been begging for that since Overwatch 1. Every introduction that kind of sucked on launch is either taken out back and shot like Clash, or made good if not great now. Like the rank system that doesn't put half the server's population into the highest possible rank anymore. Why did it do that? I don't know, but it took 3 seasons to fix. Point being, it's fixed now. Or balance changes that genuinely fixed glaring issues people had when comparing 5v5 versus 6v6. For example, the pace of the game when 5v5 dropped. It was way too fast for people. So what'd they do? Bigger bullet, bigger health bar. It's so stupid, but it works. It flattened out burst damage across the board. Effectively, what a second tank would do in Overwatch 1. So regardless of the promises made before launch, what we have now, in my opinion, is actually a good game. Like, it's genuinely a good freaking game now. Like, I'm not saying it to shill. It's just that everyone treats it like it's an infectious disease the moment you mention you like it. But the moment the community has a reason to not shit on the game, suddenly the game gets to be played in a way where people actually think it makes sense that someone would dedicate an entire career shilling about it. This is what the 6v6 game mode became to me. It became proof that Overwatch is still that game. 6v6 isn't better for it. The developers have very good reasons to not swap to it. They still apply and absolutely do still make sense. But is it more fun? I believe it. 6v6 can be more fun. Going back to 6v6 with the current community would make it GOATs of the Overwatch Classic game mode, not from 2018. That's the problem. And that's kind of like the reason for this video. I haven't actually gotten to the actual point yet, which is fun. Something to take into account first is that the last impression of a game is the thing you use to contextualize what news happened to it at a distance. So many people had frustrating gameplay experiences that they overcompensated with hype. Take that hype away, and suddenly your game becomes the punching bag of r/games. Anyone still playing Overwatch wants to be part of that crowd. So they, for some reason, joined the bandwagon against themselves. Now, this is completely sane logic and is not something that I deeply question on a day-to-day basis. Now, all this 6v6 being better talk gives me one massive point of optimism. The entire reason this video was written is, to me, that it's proof Overwatch can come back. The reason just can't be about the base game. And 6v6 isn't a main focus, and it can't be. And so there it is. The solution. Stadium. The developers at Blizzard have a whole separate team that's apparently been working on this for many years now. They're redoing maps. They're going the real shebang. This is not just an arcade game mode. Everyone coming to check out Stadium is immediately going to be hit with a giant refresh on everything that's been added since Overwatch launched. Like going to McDonald's for the Grimace Shake and then seeing a giant billboard of the burger that you loved growing up. The burger that you used to eat every single day, but then just kind of stopped because you lost interest in it. And then, well, shoot, you might as well try it out, right? Get it together with the Grimace Shake. And then you see refurbished chairs and refurbished tables and a remodeled interior. I don't really know what happens inside of a McDonald's. I'm hoping this all makes sense. I kind of locked in my analogy really early on in the video, and I'm kind of just running with it at this point. That's where Stadium kicks in. More important than anything, it's the reason for people to go to McDonald's, play Overwatch, to download Overwatch, install Overwatch. Now, before you mention anything about perks, I would like to mention perks are balance. I see them as balance. I treat them like balance. They're chaotic, they're great, they're really fun, but they're still part of the base game mode. And that's something everyone already wrote off. Stadium, however, is not the base game mode. And that's exciting because more people means more players, which means bigger player base, which means bigger marketing budget, which means, you guessed it, more cinematics!